Hello, thank you for joining me today. My name is Leah. Today's class will be practicing Astavakrasana, which is also known as crooked in 8 places. It's a challenging posture that involves a tight hip squeeze around a single arm and a balance on our hands with Chaturanga arms. Sounds complicated, but once you break it down and you learn which muscles need to be engaged and in which way, it's quite accessible, and it takes very little effort to ease our way into the pose once the mind creates an understanding of exactly what needs to happen with the muscles. I hope you find this practice to be fun and playful, but also challenging and rewarding. Let's begin with a 5-minute meditation on our back. Bring your legs out in front. Slowly lower your back down to the mat. Palms rest facing up. And begin to walk your feet to the outskirts of your mat and allow your knees to draw in toward each other. Take your right hand, place it on your heart. Take your left hand, place it right above the navel point. Close your eyes and allow yourself to tune into your breath. Long, deep inhales, rising your belly underneath your left palm. Full exhales, squeezing the abdomen gently at the bottom. Allowing yourself to settle in this posture, preparing for our practice. Letting go of anything that happened earlier in your day to be fully present here and now in this moment. If any thoughts begin to distract your mind, return your attention to your breath. Return your palms to the mat beside you and begin to draw your knees up toward your chest, wrapping your arms around for a tight squeeze. Maybe clasping opposite elbows for a gentle compression in the hip. Keep your right knee toward your chest and begin to elongate the left leg. Engage the quadricep on the left side to stabilize that leg and draw your right knee toward right shoulder. Deep, long inhales here. Begin to to draw your toes up toward the sky and take a peace finger grip and wrap it around your big toe. Draw that foot toward the floor beside you, pulling that knee closer to the floor, maintaining that engagement on the left side. And then begin to press that right heel up toward the sky. Finding a little opening in the back of the right shoulder here. A little lengthening in the hamstring on the right side. If you have a slight bend to that right knee, it's a-okay. Work with where you are today. Gently begin to loosen your grip on the right toe. And then slowly begin to lower that right leg down. Keeping that low back compressed against the mat. Engage your right quadricep and begin to draw left knee toward left shoulder. Allowing our inhales to travel to that hip on the left to help open up further. Begin to straighten out that left knee and grab left toe with the peace finger grip, keeping that engagement on the right quadricep. Begin to draw that left knee toward the floor on the left side. Finding a half happy baby. And gently from here, begin to press the left heel up toward the sky. If you have a significant bend in that knee, no problem. Maintaining integrity in the posture and safety, working within our limits. Begin to loosen your grip on that big toe and then slowly lower that leg down. Begin to walk both feet toward your hips. Cross right leg over left. And then maybe go for an extra bind, taking the top of the right foot underneath the left shin. From here, take your left arm, wrap it underneath the right, crossing elbows, and then bring your palms to touch if possible. Take a deep inhale here. And exhale. Inhale long. And on the exhale, draw your knees up toward your elbows. Squeezing here, drawing the low back toward the mat. And then begin to gently reach your hands upward toward the sky. You might not find much change in the movement here. Just work with what's available. Deep and expansive breath. And exhale. Lower those legs down. Uncross your arms. Uncross your legs. Take left leg to cross over right. Maybe go for that double bind for eagle legs. And this time, wrap right arm underneath left. Cross your wrist and bring your palms to touch. Inhaling here. Exhale. Inhale deep. And on the exhale, draw knees up toward elbows. And then maybe reach your hands up toward the ceiling. Long, deep inhales and exhales here. Begin to unwind. Pull both knees into your chest. for one last squeeze. And then take your hands underneath your knees and bend your knees. Begin to rock and roll forward and back, finding some gentle compression of the spine. We'll make our way into a tabletop shape. Make sure that the wrists are stacked underneath the shoulders, knees are stacked underneath the hips. And let's begin here with a few cat-cows. So inhaling wraps your tailbone upward and draws the back of your head toward your tailbone. Exhale, press into your hands and begin to round your tailbone inward, drawing your nose toward your navel. Finding expansion in the back of the thoracic area, and the back of the body. And then make your breath and movement continuous. Finding depth in the posture. Return to neutral spine. Begin to shift your weight to the right side. On the inhale, kick your left leg back, wrapping those toes downward toward the mat, keeping that left side booty engaged and your hips are in line with the floor below you. Finding a little bit of spinal balance here. Neck is in neutral, spine is long. And then begin to draw that left leg across the right, tapping the toes on the outer portion of the right side of the mat. And then draw your gaze toward that left heel to find length in the left side body. Inhale, bring that leg back to center. Bend and straighten that knee a few times. Elongate, and then draw it back toward the mat to meet the right. On the inhale, right heel kicks out behind, making sure to engage the inner thigh of the right leg to pull those toes downward toward the mat. Heel is pressing behind. Inhale here, exhale, begin to wrap right leg over left, tapping the toes on the floor on the outside of the left mat. Gaze is at the right heel, finding elongation on the right side body. Draw that leg back to spinal balance. Hold here. And then begin to bend and straighten that right leg, finding a little bit of opening in the quadricep and hamstring. Hold on the length and then draw that knee back into the quadruped shape. Begin to walk your hands back toward your knees. And here you can take a blanket and place it underneath your knees. If you have any discomfort in this pose, we won't be here very long. The other option, if you want to gain a little bit of flexibility at the bottom of the feet, is to curl your toes under and allow yourself to sit on the heel. We're going to open up the muscles in the neck and the shoulders here, so let's drop our chin toward our chest. And then gently rock our left ear to left shoulder, making half circles. And then drawing right ear to right shoulder, finding some continuous motion. Maybe finding a spot that catches nicely and taking deep inhales there. If it feels good. Draw your chin back toward your chest and slowly Lower your chin so that it's parallel with the ground below you. Begin to draw your chin toward the left shoulder, keeping it in line with the floor, finding a twist, and then begin to rotate your head to the opposite side. Come back to center. Bring your hands to interlace in front of the chest, palms together, and begin to make circles with your fists, warming up the wrist joints. We're going to be doing some chaturangas in this practice today, so it's very essential to have open wrists. Take your palms away from each other and begin to wave your hands, reverse directions. Hands press out in front. Arms lift up overhead. Draw the hands back down and then bring palms to chest. Let's do that 3 times total. Inhaling, arms come up. Exhaling, lower down and bring toward chest. One last time. We're going to make our way to downward facing dog and then to mountain pose at the top of the mat. We're going to flow with a sun salutation V. Begin to walk your hands forward. Curl your toes under. Press into the top of your feet to press your hips up, raising your tailbone toward the sky, and gently walk your hands forward, finding some length in your dog. Take a deep inhale here. And exhale. Draw your gaze between your thumbs and slowly begin to walk your feet toward your hands. Having our feet hips width distance underneath, and gently begin to press into your heels to roll up vertebrae after vertebrae. Allowing our palms to rest by our sides, palms face forward, shoulders draw back down the body, chest is lifted through the shoulders, eyes are closed, gaze is in between the brow point. Take a deep inhale here, and exhale. Inhale, arms raise up overhead. Exhale, bend your knees, sink into chair. Inhale here. Exhale, lower down, forward fold. Inhale, press into your shins, halfway lift. Inhale and exhale, plant your hands, step back into plank. Wrap your biceps forward so that the front of your elbows are pointing toward the top of your mat. Core is tight here. Begin to keep your arms tucked in. Bend elbows, lower down, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right heel comes to rise. Exhale, bend knee, hover into chest, hold for a moment. Plant your foot between your hands. Back foot pivots 45 degrees. Lifting up, warrior one. Inhale here. And exhale, lower down. Frame right foot. Step back into plank. Lower down, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Inhale, left heel comes to rise. Exhale, bend knee, hover into chest, hold. Plant foot between your hands, pivot back foot. Inhale lifts you up, warrior one. Inhale here, and exhale. Inhale, exhale, frame front foot, press into your hands, step back, plank. Lower down, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Inhale deeply here and exhale. Take your gaze in between your thumbs. Begin to walk your feet forward. Coming into forward fold. Inhale, roll yourself up, vertebrae over top of vertebrae. Arms reach up overhead. Exhale, lower arms down. Bring them into prayer out in front of your chest. Take some time here to allow that sun salutation to integrate, creating new neural pathways in your mind, connecting it to your body. Inhale, arms raise up, gaze between your hands. Exhale, swan dive, hinging at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, pressing into the shins. Exhale, plant your hands, step back, plank. Lower down, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, push back, downward facing dog. Take some time here to sink into your breath. With our downward dog, we're really thinking about pressing our heels toward the mat, stepping our hands out forward a little bit to elongate the spine, drawing our chest between our shoulders. Gaze is at an angle down at the mat, keeping our spine in neutral. Let's take 3 deep inhales here, 3 deep exhales. Inhale, right heel comes to rise, making sure those toes are wrapping downward toward the mat, really pressing through that heel. Exhale, knee comes hover into chest, squeeze up tight. Plant between your hands, pivot back foot, 45 degrees, coming into warrior one. Inhale here, reaching up high. Exhale, cactus the arms down, pulling chest between the shoulders, slight back bend here, navel pulling towards spine. Inhale, and exhale, reach the arms back, coming into a gentle, slight forward fold here at the hips. Begin to clasp your hands behind your back for making a fist. And on the inhale, reach your palms back behind you, lifting your chest. Chin is pulling toward the neck. On the exhale, begin to hinge at the hips, drawing your right shoulder toward your right knee, finding a humble warrior. Drawing both heels toward each other to create a stable base. Inhale, lifting ourselves up, unbind our hands, reaching back, engaging our triceps. Begin to pivot so that way you're on the ball of the left foot. And then gently bring your weight to your right heel to lift that left leg up, coming into warrior three. Pressing with our left heel toward the back of the room. Inhale, gently lower back into crescent, arms reach up. Exhale, frame front foot, plant your hands, step back, plank. Lower down, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing dog. Deep inhale here. And exhale. Inhale, left heel comes to rise. Exhale, knee hovers into chest, squeeze up tight. Plant foot between your hands, pivot back foot 45 degrees. Inhale, arms come up, warrior one. Exhale, arms draw down toward our sides, lifting the chest, cactus in your arms. Inhale here. Exhale, slight hip hinge, reaching arms back, engaging the triceps. Draw your hands together, interlace your fingers, push your hands toward the floor behind you, lifting your chest, drawing your navel toward your spine, slight back bend here. Exhale, hip hinge over that left leg, coming into a humble warrior. Inhale, lifting ourselves up, pressing into that left heel. Unbind your hands and begin to pivot onto the ball of the right foot, pressing into our left heel to lift ourselves up into warrior three. Finding a little bit of balance here. Inhale and exhale, lower down crescent. Inhale. Exhale, frame front foot, press into your hands, plank, lower down chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, child's pose. Begin to press firmly into your hands to lift your hips off of your heels. Tuck your toes under. Press into the tops of your feet to lift your hips up. Downward dog. Take a deep inhale here. And exhale. On the inhale, right heel comes to rise. Bend the knee. On the exhale, twist, tap right knee to opposite elbow. Inhale, right heel comes to rise. Exhale, tap right knee to same side elbow. Inhale, right leg rises. Exhale, hover into the center of your chest. Hold for a squeeze. Plant foot between your hands. Press into the front heel to lift ourselves up into crescent. If this is uncomfortable for your shoulders, feel free to draw your elbows into that cactus shape, or you can reach your arms back if that feels more comfortable. There are always options for everyone. Inhale and exhale. Take your left hand, plant it on the inside of the right foot. Begin to twist yourself open toward the right side of your mat. If you feel that this is a difficult pose and you need a little bit of leverage, feel free to grab your block and place it right on the inner portion of that right foot. Finding a spinal twist here. Core is engaged, drawing navel to spine. Right arm is strong, reaching up toward the sky. Inhale and exhale. Begin to press into your left finger pads and lift yourself up, coming into twisted crescent. Inhale here. And exhale, windmill arms, coming into warrior two, framing the left side of the mat. Warrior two, make sure the heels are hugging toward each other so your inner thighs are engaged. You can walk that left foot forward to create some stability. Opening up your stance in the hips is going to create more stability. If you would like more difficulty, you can bring heel to heel alignment. Make sure those back toes are slightly turned inward to protect the left hip. Arms are reaching in opposition. Arms are strong. Gaze is over the right fingertips. Long, deep inhales here. From here, we're going to take side angle. There are options for this one as well. You can bend your right elbow and place it on your right thigh. Then take left arm and reach it up overhead, keeping a strong engagement in the muscles of the left arm to find length in the left side body. If you wish to take it deeper, you can straighten out that right elbow and keep your compression of the forearm against the right inner leg, using a little bit of core strength to maintain this. If you wish, you can even take your fingertips to the floor below you. Gaze can be at that left hand or just up at the ceiling, straight ahead, whatever feels comfortable. Long, deep inhales here. On the next inhale, press into right foot, lift yourself back up, warrior two. Exhale. Inhale, come back to crescent, lifting that left heel off the mat. Walk that left foot a little bit forward, press into right heel to lift up, warrior three. Engaging triceps, drawing navel towards spine, pressing with that back heel. Inhale here, exhale, lower back down to crescent. Inhale, exhale, frame front foot, step into plank, lower down chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale here, and exhale. We're gonna switch to the other side. So on the inhale, left heel comes to rise. Exhale, bend knee, hover into chest, rotate toward opposite elbow, squeeze. Inhale, left heel comes to rise. Exhale, knee to same side elbow. Inhale, rise. Exhale, knee comes into chest for a squeeze. Plant foot between your hands. Lifting ourselves up into crescent pose here. Whichever variation for the arms feels good, feel free to take it. Opening up that right hip. Thinking about drawing that outer left hip toward the left side of the mat to create more stability. And then right hand comes down to the inner portion, to the inner side of the left foot. Left arm comes to rise, keeping that back leg straight, pressing through the back heel, maybe using a block here if it feels necessary. Gaze is at the left fingertips, if that feels okay on the neck. Come onto the finger beds of the right hand. Begin to press, lifting ourselves up to twisted crescent. Gaze is toward the back side of the mat. Inhale here. Exhale, windmill the arms, coming into warrior two, facing the right side. Finding long, deep inhales, engaging that outer left hip to draw the knee over top of the left ankle, pulling the inner thighs together to create stability in the stance. Inhale, exhale. And whatever variation of side angle you chose from last side, we're gonna do that once more. So, hand comes to the floor, shin to the forearm or elbow to thigh, reaching right arm up. This time overhead, over your ear. Drawing those hips together still, keeping the right arm strong, finding length in the right side body. Deep inhales here. Press into both feet to lift yourself back up, warrior two. Inhale here. Exhale, rotate right arm forward, coming into crescent. Step that foot forward a few inches. Inhale and exhale, slight hip hinge. Reach arms back to press into left heel, lifting right leg off of the mat, coming into warrior three. Find spinal balance here. Inhale. Exhale, lower down crescent. Inhale. Exhale, frame front foot, stepping back into plank. Lower down chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale and exhale here. We're gonna come into lizard pose on the right side. So right heel comes to rise. Exhale, bend the knee, hover toward right elbow, and then place right foot on the outside of the right hand. Drop that back knee down. And from here, you can untuck the toes, press into your hands to remain lifted. Taking long, deep inhales here. You can also tuck your back toes under and press into that back heel to straighten your leg, opening up your left hip flexor a little bit more. Finding a little bit of movement forward and back from that back foot. If this feels comfortable and you want to take it deeper, try taking that right shoulder underneath that right leg. Drawing your shoulder as far as you can under that right leg, and then finding a little bit of movement back and forth. If it helps, you can drop that back knee and walk your left arm out a little bit. If you are not here today, it doesn't mean you are not able to do it. It just means you're not ready for it right now. Just keep practicing and your body will eventually surprise you. So whichever variation is good for you, take some time here. When you're ready, lower that back knee down. Frame your front foot. Press into your hands, tuck your back toes under. Straighten out that back leg. Coming into plank. Lower down chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. On the next inhale, right heel comes to rise. Exhale, hover knee to left elbow. Plant foot on the outer side of left hand. And whichever variation you took on the right side, feel free to take that same variation to keep yourself even on both sides. Whichever feels comfortable. And maybe finding a gentle rock forward and back. If you are bound with your left arm under your left knee, try to squeeze that left knee toward your left shoulder. Finding a little bit of oppositional force. Keep any tension out of your neck by making sure your gaze is downward toward your mat. When you're ready, drop that back knee if it's lifted. Untuck your shoulder if it's bound. Walk that left foot back to center. frame around the foot and come into plank. Lower down Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, child's pose. Take a few deep inhales here. We're going to start heading toward our peak pose, which is Astavakrasana, also known as crooked in 8 places. First, we're going to do a little bit of core work to get us prepared for it. So let's plant our hands, tuck our toes, press into downward dog. Inhale here, long exhale. Draw your gaze between your thumbs. Bend your knees, and you can walk to a seated position between your hands, or you can hop through, coming into cross-legged. From here, we're going to uncross our legs and bring our feet together, lifting our knees a little bit toward the outsides of our mat. If this is too much, you can keep your feet on the ground, but maintain that diamond shape. We're going to make an arrow mudra with our hands. So index fingers are together, crossing our thumbs, and the rest of our hands are interlaced. Reaching forward, finding some core engagement here. Inhale. Exhale, draw your knees together, reach your arms to the opposite side for a twist. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, center. One more each side. Exhale, twisting to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, twisting to the right. Find center, and then lower your feet down. I'm going to face you so you can see exactly what I'm doing here. Let's have our left shin parallel with the mat that we're facing. We're going to take our right leg and we're going to cradle it. So you can take your foot into your left, take your right foot into your left elbow, or you can hold it like this, trying to lift your spine up, lifting your sternum, so that way you're not sinking and rounding forward. Pressing into your sits bone for a little lift. And whichever variation you're taking, maybe find a little bit of movement here. Little cradle. We're going to move into compass pose from this. So with compass, we're going to grab the foot with our opposite hand, reach our right arm underneath the same side knee, plant the hand down, and begin to grab the outer top portion of our right foot, pressing into our right hand for stability, lifting our chest still, and slowly begin to straighten out that left knee as we tuck our torso underneath that left shoulder, twisting and gazing underneath that armpit. Don't force this pose, just work with where you are today. If you have a bend that's significant to that right knee, embrace it. I am not perfect in this pose. I think it takes a lot of effort to get that right knee straight, so just be patient. Finding maybe a deeper twist with every exhale. Slowly begin to bend that right knee and keep that right leg where it's planted. From here, we're going to really think about pulling that right knee onto that right shoulder, okay? And our hands are going to be pretty much parallel to one another. We're going to find our way into a hand balance. And in order to do that, we're going to cross the opposite foot, the opposite ankle over that bound leg. And as we lean forward and hinge our elbows to make Chaturanga arms, we're going to squeeze our legs tight around that bound arm and keep our spine lifted so that way we can balance in the figure 8 shape. So this is what it looks like. Bend elbows, begin to squeeze legs, and tilt our bodies over our hands to lift ourselves up. And really winding those legs tight around that right arm. Gaze can be at the feet or down at the mat. Really pressing into the finger beds to lift ourselves up. And when you're ready to come down, hinge backward, landing on the outer left hip. Draw your knees toward your chest and unbind that right arm. Okay, so I'm going to give you some time to practice that, maybe one more time here. And then we're going to switch sides. So essential to this pose, squeezing the hips together around that arm is important. The higher you're able to lift that right leg onto that right outer arm, and then also press the arm against the inner leg as the leg presses into the arm. That's going to really help you maintain the position. As you hip hinge, squeeze those legs together tight around that right arm, and then making sure our finger beds are really planted into the mat and lifting our spine so that way we're not rounding forward and tipping onto our heads. You want to keep the spine parallel with the floor, and the navel is pulling toward the spine. So let's switch sides here, same sequence. Right shin this time is going to come in front. Whichever variation you took for the cradle on the right side, do that same variation, finding maybe a little bit of movement here. And then we're going to shift into compass pose. So grab that left foot with your right hand and draw left arm in between the knee crack, the knee crevice. Plant left hand down. Begin to take that right hand and wrap it onto the outer portion of your left foot and slowly begin to press through the heel to straighten out right leg, twisting body toward the right. Gaze is under that right armpit, and you might find that one side is tighter than the other. That is not unusual. This side is actually quite tight for me. Take long, deep inhales, allowing the chest cavity to expand, finding depth in the pose, just using your breath. Slowly bend that left knee to come out. And then we're going to make our way into the peak pose. So leg is up really high on that left arm, squeezing the leg toward the left shoulder. Left shoulder is squeezing toward the leg to create a counter. Hands plant down in the mat in front of you. And then cross that right ankle over the left. As you begin to lean your trunk forward, hinging at the hips, you're going to squeeze your legs together tight. You're going to squeeze your legs together tight in order to find yourself in the balancing pose. So it's going to look like this. And then pressing into all four corners of your hands and your fingertips To maintain, keeping the spine parallel with the mat, pulling the navel toward your spine. And to come out of it, gently lower right hip down, draw knees toward your chest, and release the bind. Take some time to practice. Also, after this video, if you have any questions about this pose, feel free to leave them in the comment box below. I'm happy to answer any questions to help you get there. It's a very fun pose to practice, and it takes a lot of different muscle engagements, but once you get it, it'll definitely enhance your yoga practice. When you're done practicing, then we're going to find ourselves in log pose. So take right leg out in front, stack left leg on top, and if you have significant lift underneath that left leg, you can place a pillow, a blanket underneath, or you can just gently press your hand down to open up the hip a little bit further. From here, we're going to walk our hands toward the left side. Take right hand on the outer portion. Take right hand on top of the left leg and begin to twist, finding a twisted log pose. Gaze is over the left shoulder. Chest is lifted. Come back to center. Start to walk your fingertips forward, finding a deeper hip opening here. It's basically like a double pigeon. You're going to feel it more on the left side. Begin to walk your hands back to center. Uncross the left leg and then replace right leg on top of left. With log pose, making sure our left ankle is resting on the inner thigh of the left leg, closer to the knee but not on the knee. Legs are completely parallel, stacked on top with each other. And from here, we're going to take left arm, left hand, place on top of the right leg, fingertips behind with the right hand, gaze is over the right shoulder. Coming back to center, and if it feels comfortable, beginning to walk our fingertips forward, finding a hip hinge here, opening up that right hip really well. Walk your fingertips back toward your body. We're going to unbind our legs and turn our legs toward the front side of the mat. Arms reach forward, chest is lifted, pressing into our heels. We're going to gently lower down, vertebrae after vertebrae, until we're all the way on our backs. From here, we're going to pull right knee toward chest, and then take right ankle, cross it over left knee, making that figure 4 shape. Pull the left heel toward your glute area. Palms press face down. Inhale. And on the exhale, press into the left heel to lift your hips up, squeezing your booty at the top, pulling your chin away from your chest. Hold for a moment, and then lower it down. Cross right knee completely over left, and then walk your left foot toward the center of the mat. Allow both knees to rotate toward the left side, finding a spinal twist here. Taking left hand on top of outer right leg. Right arm reaches long, gazes at the right fingertips. Come back to center, planting left foot down. Unwrap top leg. Draw right knee toward your chest and plant left ankle on top of right knee. Walk that right foot toward your glutes a little bit. Palms come to face down. Left knee is pressing downward toward your mat. Inhale here. And exhale, press into the right heel to lift your hips up, squeezing at the top. Finding a single leg bridge, just a little bit trickier than a double bridge. And lower it down softly. Cross that left leg over the right, and then allow both knees to rock towards the right. Take right hand, plant it on top of the outer left thigh. Reach your left arm and gaze is at your left fingertips. Your knees back to the original position, uncross left leg. Draw both knees up toward your chest. And then pull your knees toward your shoulders. Straighten out your knees a little bit to grab the outer portions of your feet, coming into a full happy baby this time. Press your lower back against the mat to gently engage your lower abs here. And then slowly begin to pull your knees toward the floor, opening up those hips. Deep, long inhales. Imagining the air is helping to aid you in the stretch. Maybe find a little bit of a rock from side to side. Unbind your hands and bend your knees. Draw your knees into your chest for one last squeeze. And then slowly lengthen the left leg, followed by the right. Allow your toes to rock outwards, palms to face up. Draw your shoulders down your back. Close your eyes. And allow yourself to rest here. Shavasana, final resting pose. If you notice any tension still lingering in your body, allow yourself to bring your attention to it. Allow yourself to carry your breath to that spot which is still holding on. Savasana is a very important part of our practice. It allows the mind to catch up to the body's movements, creating new neural grooves in the mind to enhance mind to muscle memory. So that way when you flow through the postures, you find a sense of grace and ease in the movements with practice. Allow yourself to be here and now. There's nowhere to go, nowhere to be right now, except for here in this moment. When we find deep relaxation, it's often now that we find greatest insights that help us in our life experience. Sometimes we just have to let go and let life unfold how it naturally is intended to unfold. Sometimes the greatest gifts come with uncertainty. Take a deep inhale all the way into your belly and retain the breath for a moment at the top. Exhale deeply, squeeze the abdomen, release the air, hold empty at the bottom for a moment. Allow your breath to return to normal. Slowly begin to wiggle your toes, bringing life into the body. Roll your wrists, move your fingertips. Rock your legs from side to side, moving the blood, moving the lymph. Plant your feet flat, bending your knees. Lift your hips up for a gentle bridge and slowly lower them down. Draw your knees toward your chest. Give yourself a tight squeeze. And gently rock to your left side lying position, taking a moment here to let your energy settle. When you are ready, meet me in cross-legged position so we can end our practice together. Bring your hands in prayer in front of the chest. Draw your thumbs up toward your third eye. May there be peace in your thoughts. Thumbs come down to your lips. May there be peace in your words. Thumbs come to sternum. May there be peace in your hearts. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for this class today. I hope it was fun and you felt challenged. If you have any questions about this practice, feel free to leave comments in the box below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel for future meditation, yoga, and chakra-based videos. I appreciate all of your support. I look forward to our next practice together. Thank you so much.